There are two types of people in this world. One type feels most alive around constant energy. They want enthusiasm at the door, noise in the room, reassurance in motion, affection that announces itself loudly and often. Connection, for them, is something you can hear, see, and measure. The other type prefers something very different. A presence that doesn't rush toward them. A companion that doesn't perform excitement, doesn't demand attention, doesn't need reassurance to exist. Something that can share space without filling it. If that second description feels familiar, this video is for you. And yes, we are talking about cats. But more importantly, we're talking about you. Welcome to the psychology behind people who love cats. Not the stereotypes, not the jokes, not the shallow explanations. The real psychology. The kind rooted in how your nervous system works, how you process emotion, how you experience safety, and why certain environments feel calming while others feel overwhelming. This isn't a video about pets. It's a video about regulation, autonomy, and a personality type modern culture often misunderstands. For decades, pop culture hasn't known what to do with people who don't express themselves loudly, so it turned cat lovers into symbols. The crazy cat lady, the cold intellectual, the silent villain with a cat on their lap, watching the world from a distance. But these images were never really about cats. They were about discomfort with people who don't perform connection the way society expects them to. Because today, being healthy and social is often confused with being visible, expressive, energetic, constantly available, emotionally obvious. And anyone who doesn't fit that mold is quickly labeled distant, strange, or antisocial. Cat lovers quietly challenge that idea. They don't confuse noise with intimacy. They don't equate constant interaction with closeness. And that difference makes them easy to misunderstand. Psychology tells us something important here. The absence of constant expression is not emotional absence, it's regulation. Many people who love cats are deeply observant. They notice subtle changes in tone, posture, atmosphere, and emotional shifts that others miss. They may speak less, but they register more. And because they don't rely on constant external feedback to feel secure, they don't feel the need to prove connection through nonstop interaction. What looks like detachment from the outside is often selectivity on the inside. They're not avoiding connection. They're avoiding unnecessary stimulation. They choose relationships and environments that respect their internal rhythm. When psychologists study personality, they often use what's called the Big Five traits. And when researchers compare people who prefer cats with those who prefer dogs, consistent patterns appear. Cat lovers tend to score higher in openness to experience. That means creativity, curiosity, and comfort with complexity. Not just liking art or ideas, but being willing to sit with ambiguity. To explore emotions without needing immediate answers. To question norms instead of accepting them automatically. They also tend to score lower in extroversion. And this is where misunderstanding usually begins. Lower extroversion doesn't mean disliking people. It means social energy drains rather than fuels. Noise, unpredictability, and constant engagement cost more. Connection is still meaningful, but it's experienced best in smaller doses, with space to recover in between. Research also shows slightly higher sensitivity among cat lovers. In psychology, this is often labeled as higher neuroticism, but that word is misleading. It doesn't mean instability. It means awareness. A nervous system that picks up on stress earlier, reacts faster to overstimulation, and feels emotional shifts more intensely. This isn't a weakness. It's an early warning system, but it also means that chaotic environments, loud energy, or constant demands for attention can feel intrusive. Cats fit this psychological profile almost perfectly. They don't impose. They don't escalate energy. They move predictably, respect boundaries, and exist without pressure. For a sensitive nervous system, that presence feels stabilizing. At a certain point, personality labels stop being enough. Because what truly separates cat lovers from dog lovers isn't preference, it's regulation. Some nervous systems regulate through activity and interaction. They feel calmer when there's movement, structure, and frequent feedback. Dogs are ideal for that. They initiate contact, mirror excitement, and keep energy flowing. Other nervous systems regulate through stillness, through predictability, through the absence of demand. These systems don't need stimulation to feel safe. They need environments that don't overwhelm them in the first place. Cats provide that. A cat doesn't rush towards you to release energy. It settles and allows you to settle with it. There's no requirement to respond, perform, or manage another being's emotional state. You're allowed to arrive as you are. For people who spend much of their lives anticipating, adapting, or self-monitoring, that kind of coexistence feels like relief. Calm isn't boredom for them. It's recovery. There's also a biological reason cats trigger such a powerful sense of attachment. Ethologists call it the baby schema. Certain visual features, large eyes, rounded faces, soft movements, automatically activate caregiving responses in the human brain. Cats match this pattern remarkably well. When a cat looks at you, your brain doesn't register predator. It registers infant. The response is automatic. Warmth, protection, attunement. But what makes this especially meaningful for cat lovers is that the care flows outward without emotional pressure returning inward. The cat doesn't demand cheerfulness. It doesn't require reassurance. It doesn't monitor your mood. This dynamic feels safe, especially for people who learned to self-regulate early, who became observant and composed before they were fully supported. Caring can feel easier than receiving. Cats allow closeness without overload. Sound plays a role too. A cat's purr operates at low rhythmic frequencies that the nervous system instinctively associates with safety. Before you consciously feel comfort, your body slows. Breathing deepens. Muscles relax. Stress hormones drop. This isn't imagination. It's physiology. Low, repetitive sound signals that nothing urgent is required. No action, no vigilance, just presence. For people whose nervous systems are often on alert, this kind of co-regulation is rare. Not silence, not noise, something in between. A steady signal that it's okay to rest. Cats also model a form of attachment that many people crave but rarely find. Consent-based closeness. A cat never assumes access to you. Affection is offered, not imposed. And when it leaves, it doesn't require explanation. This mirrors how many cat lovers experience intimacy. They're not avoidant of closeness. They're avoidant of pressure. They want connection that unfolds naturally, without urgency or demand. For those who've experienced boundary violations, emotional or relational, this matters deeply. Cats feel safe because they respect limits by default. When a cat chooses you, the affection feels real, voluntary, and earned. So maybe this was never really about cats. Maybe it was about the kind of nervous system you have and the kind of world it feels safest in. If you love cats, it doesn't mean you're cold, distant, or disconnected. It means you're wired for subtlety, for presence without pressure, for connection that doesn't demand constant output. Cats don't ask you to be louder, faster, or more available than you are. They simply exist with you. And for some people, that quiet companionship is what finally allows them to feel human again. If this video put words to something you've always felt but never fully understood, you're not alone. This channel is for people who experience the world deeply and quietly. If you want more psychology like this, consider subscribing. And if this resonated, leave a comment. What do cats give you that the world often doesn't?